Yeah.
What's going on, people? It's your man Mac with our Portis.
You want me to say something?
You want to introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Will, the barber, Willie the King on Instagram. This is His Image Barbershop. We here doing the thing.
And so we're going to be coming to you weekly with different topics, just talking about life, man, life in general. And, I call it barbershop chop. We chopping it up in the barbershop. And then we got a brother, what's your name, sir? Ant, he's on here. He's getting his hair cut, so he's going to be a part of the conversation until he has to go. So tonight, I just want to start off with talking about the black male image and what that means to you. So, Brother Will, I'll let you go ahead and kick that off first. What does the black male image mean to you?
I'm going to pass it to Ant. I want to hear Ant's opinion on this before he roll out.
Man.
Put
me on the spot.
All on
yeah.
I mean, the black male image in today's world is a few different images that we kind of give off to in the community or society, that how they view us. I think the black male image that we're trying to establish nowadays is more positive and trying to be influential in the communities and change the stigmatism that we have surrounded against us. Basically, a lot of people look at us as either going to commit a crime, or they're judging us before they even truly know us, or what type of action that we can actually produce in the communities. So I think more so the black male image is very important to establish nowadays, to make it to represent something positive instead of having that negative stigmatism.
So, do you feel like we're doing that well?
I think there's still room for improvement. Well, there's always room for improvement in anything you do. I do think we are doing it well enough right now.
Can you give me an example?
Just for example, like some of the people in Charlottesville, speaking of Charlottesville, I would say like West Bellamy, very active in the community, trying to make a difference in the community. You see like the things that he tried to do for the youth around Charlottesville. He's trying to change the standard things that typically go on in Charlottesville, or what is the outcome of certain situations of crime or whatever. He's trying to deteriorate that, basically. He's been positive since I've known him in Charlottesville. He cares about the youth. He cares about the local high schools, the city. He is what we know as hoods. He cares about the hoods. He wants to make that difference in the communities. There's a lot of sport programs by different people in Charlottesville that try to take the youth and travel with them a lot more, show them there's a different side of just sports locally, that they can have opportunities to travel all across the world to play those sports. So I mean, you have those people in Charlottesville that are setting an example, and hopefully for people to follow their lead.
Okay, so Brother Ant feels like we got positive black male images out there in society. Gave one. What's your take, Brother Will?
Black male image.
Yes, sir.
I think that we have a lot to do with not a lot to do it with. And so, I honestly, my first thing that comes to my mind is that it's unfair what we're trying to live down when we didn't even live up to it in the first place. Like, it's just put on us. Like, we had, like, some of the things that he spoke to, he was never a gangster. Why should he have to live down the gangster image? I was never selling drugs. Why do I have to live that down? It just is what it is. But in that, I think that we're doing an awesome job. I think, given what we have been given to work with, I think as black people and as black men, we're doing a great job of overcoming what was put on us. I think there are plenty of examples of young men that are working hard, that are trying to change the dynamic. But my issue, I guess, why I'm struggling is because I don't feel like we should have to change anything that we didn't start. Like, we have to keep trying to live down this image that we didn't actually put out there. When in all actuality, we have solid fathers in the black community. We have solid leaders. Like, if anybody has leaders in their community, it's black people. Who are the white leaders? So, like, we don't know of other communities having leaders like we have.
But I guess they look at it, especially the white community. I can't speak on it. I don't want to speak for them.
Yeah.
But they've got civic leaders. They got leaders in politics. So they look at it that way. Like,
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
You know, that's a great question. Do white communities feel like they have...
Who's their leaders?
That's a great question.
I mean, there's not a lot of black males, like if we're talking about the black male image, there's not a lot of black males that are practically wanting to pursue a career in politics. You know, when you're little and you're raised to just graduate high school, right? Or to at least get out the hood, right? Or to whatever that next level is, right? You didn't hear so many people raising their kids to say, I want to be the next president, or I want to be the next doctor, or I want to be a lawyer. Those things that white people instill in their kids from a young age.
You know what's crazy? Bro, my dad hit me with all that.
He did.
Listen, my father and mother grew up poor in Baltimore. They were poor. And when they got older, you know, my grandmother, my father's mother, she was like, go to the army. That's what you need to do. My father was born in 1945, so like you said, when you look at it, you're not raised to be the next president. 1945, Baltimore burned to the ground not too long after that because of race riots. But my father went to the army. When he got out, he went to college. My mother was in college. You know, both my parents went and got college degrees, got married, and then they went and pursued masters. When I was born, 81, I knew nothing other than going to college. There was no, you just graduate high school.
Yeah.
When people were like, yo, where you going to college? I was like, I know where I'm going to college. And the thing is, I have friends. I'm from Baltimore. I grew up in the hood. And I had friends who were like, yo, trying to graduate high school. I got homeboys who hit the block.
You come from a different, one thing you just said though is like, you said your mom and your dad both had degrees and they both went to get their masters. You don't see too many families that parents have a degree, and especially in black homes. And you're lucky if one has a degree. A lot of the times nowadays, your kids may be, or the kid in the family may be the first graduate of college.
Yeah.
And the way I see it now, and I mean, other people have their own opinions, but my opinion is, so you have your high school diploma or whatever, your GED or whatever, and then you have your bachelor's, and you have your master's, you have your PhD. For white people, those are very equivalent. If they get their master's, it's great, right? It's equivalent to a master's. But for a black person, when they get a high school diploma, that's great, right? But when you get that bachelor's, it's equivalent to a high school diploma for a black male. When you get that master's, you now basically just have your bachelor's, right? You basically need that PhD as a black male in today's society to be able to show you have a resume worth actually hiring or having an interview to even get that interview. You know, so we get that persona around it that, you know, it takes this much to just get this little, whereas white people are able to get there already with just a bachelor's.
Yeah. And you're right, because you know what, my mom's always like, go get your PhD. I got my master's in social work. She wants me to get my PhD. Get your PhD. It'll make you more reputable, and people will see you at a different level. I'm like, I'm not doing it because I got student loans to pay right now.
Hey, I'm 100% there with you. I'm the same way. I just graduated my master's back in May.
Bro.
And
what's your master's in what?
Executive leadership.
Okay.
You got a rollout right now?
Nah,
Have a
Yeah,
seat,
yeah,
bro.
go ahead. You ain't in the camera right now.
No,
But we can hear you.
Yeah.
Well, so I have my master's in executive leadership, and I've automatically been accepted because of my GPA for my PhD program. But I'm like, do I even want to pursue that? Just because of how much student loans you have. And the difference is, as a black male, again, the black male image, right? Today's world, we don't have that savings foundation that we typically see with white people. They have that generational wealth, you know, that they already have to be able to go towards college. When you and I, and then probably same for you, when you went to college, you probably didn't have that savings fund to get you started with your first year of college or to help pay some of your tuition. You were banking on that financial aid, right?
Oh, most definitely.
And I guarantee you, when you got that financial aid refund, if you got a refund, you was taking that drink somewhere else and spending it because you didn't know, right?
I don't remember getting a financial aid refund. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was just happy that I had financial aid because when that bill was coming, I was like, I can't work that much. They ain't paying me that much.
I went to one of the most expensive private colleges in the state of
Where'd you
Virginia.
go?
I went to FAM.
Okay.
So outside of Roanoke, in the middle of nowhere, but the joint is expensive.
Listen, I went to University of Maryland College Park, and they was hitting you in the head with that bill.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to continue going, you had to pay that bill. You know,
Exactly.
Financial aid, that was the way to go.
That's the way to go. That's the only option we knew. Whereas, once again, white people can go to college and they already have $45,000, $55,000, $65,000 towards their tuition. And if they're in state, that probably pays for 2.5, if not 3 years of college. They might not even go on financial aid period because their parents want to pay for it out of pocket already.
I went to three colleges: International Barbershop, Classic Barbershop, and Legends Barbershop. I graduated with honors.
No student loans.
No student loans, baby.
Hey, that's the way to be. So let me ask you this: black male image. We're talking about what has been put on us. And the three of us here feel like we're doing our job in creating a positive black male image and not having to change anything. What do you think about what's out there in society as far as others, like athletes, musicians, those who are in the limelight? Do you feel as though they are portraying a positive black male image? And not even saying what has been put on them, what they're actually portraying, what they want to portray themselves.
I think there are some. I think there are some that have grabbed the bull by its horns and accepted responsibility. Like, I am a role model, and I will do things to try to help my people see more clearly. I think there are some out there that are doing it. I think there are others that are victim to, you know, that kind of isolated mentality. Like, we're not a village, so to speak. Some people just live solo. Like, they don't care about anybody else. You know, like, I don't think Mayweather does a good job of doing things for his people. Now, I'm not talking about what he does back in Michigan. I'm not saying that. But when he speaks, I don't feel like he speaks with young black people in mind. Like, how are they going to take if I say this?
Right.
Like, how will they move through life if they take on this mentality that I have? Whatever he does, you can do whatever you want with your money, but I think it's good for us to be mindful of, like, if a dude smoke weed and he is established and he is a role model to people, him saying that he smokes weed is going to encourage more people to smoke weed.
Right.
But if it's like, Joker, I smoke weed, but that ain't none of y'all business, I don't need to put that on Front Street.
Right.
I think that is a healthier way to live, and I don't think that enough of us do that type of stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm a rapper, so I'm going to tattoo my face up and tattoo everything up because I can do it. But are you saying to those who can't do it, who have to go and get a regular job, I'm doing this because of the lane that I'm in? That doesn't mean that you all can do it and still be successful in the way that you want to be successful. So I can't say that enough of us are taking on that sort of responsibility. I also can't say that enough of us have been given that sort of mindset to consider approaching life in that way. So I can't knock them for it.
Right.
But I would hope that they would grow to a place of being able to be that kind of mindful. I don't think that enough of us are right now. No.
I think I completely agree with what Will just said. One person that comes to mind when you say like actors or athletes or anything, LeBron James.
Same thing.
Is the prime example. You're talking about someone, a small town kid, that's his pitch line, right? Small town kid made a difference, right? The amount of students that he sends to college, or all the high schools he donates to in Ohio or wherever, he makes a difference in his community, and he raises his kids to be the next LeBron. Basically, he raises them and shows them the correct path, which honestly in the black male community is lacked. A lot of people don't have that father figure as like LeBron James has shown and has shown others in the community. And his approach is good and is different, but also I think he would still do the same if he wasn't in the limelight. I feel like that's the type of person he is.
It's just him.
Yeah.
LeBron James, man. Let me tell you something. As many haters as there are out there about him, whether the athlete, the activist, like, you can't knock this dude.
Yeah.
This dude goes out into his community and helps. The bikes, he donates bikes and he does the bike marathon. So it's not just I'm getting kids bikes and I'm Santa Claus. He's like, let's have a healthy, active lifestyle. We're gonna ride bikes. Listen, man, we rode bikes all up and down Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
And you don't realize how active you are just doing that. And so many kids, they watch people on YouTube ride bikes. Or they play video games where you ride bikes. They're not actually doing it.
Yeah.
But if you have a LeBron James came up to me right now and was like, yo, I got a bike for you. You try and ride. I'd be like, yeah.
Where to?
Yeah. I ain't gonna wear the helmet, but I'm gonna ride. I'm from Baltimore, man. I can't wear the helmet.
I don't wear no helmet, yo. My kids gonna put on the helmet, though.
Yeah, but my kids would put, if I had kids, my kids would put on the helmet.
I can't wear no helmet.
And I would definitely say, kids, don't do this at home. Wear it home.
Wear it up. Wear your helmet. I ain't gonna wear it.
I'm not
I ain't
gonna
grew up
wear
in
it.
that era.